broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey there, Agent Carter fans! Welcome back to AFTERBUZZ TV's Agent Carter After Show. I'm not quite sure what's happening, but I'm gonna keep doing it. No, I'm gonna stop doing it. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for Agent Carter on AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm your host, Zach Wilson. 2 episodes to recap tonight. We got a ton to get through.
We got spoiled. Not spoilers, but we got spoiled because we got to.
I was like,
I just realized how that sounded.
Yeah.
I'm so
and
sorry.
I was like, and you were so joyful about it. And Megan hates it when people spoil stuff for her, like more than other people hate it.
we got
spoiled
2
for them.
very amazing episodes that we got to experience for real the first time. No spoilers. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. It's late. We've been watching Agent Carter for a long time. I'm your host, Zach Wilson. Tweet me throughout the week, throughout the show at that Zach Wilson. Assuming my computer wants to agree with me, I'll be in the chat roll as well as Jesse Klein's got it too. Now let me introduce the full panel. We're all here today. Megan Salinas.
Hey guys, you can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin.
And I'm Emma Fyffe. You can tweet at me at Emma Fyffe.
And I'm Jesse Klein. You can tweet at me at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number 1.
All right, guys. How do you feel? 2 hours of Agent Carter tonight for the second of 3 times that we're going to be doing it this season. How are you feeling?
You know, I feel like, even if this had only been a regular length episode, a lot happened.
Yeah.
Like this was a double episode just full of action and plot.
No, there was very little to no fluff in this. Even the quieter scenes, they were all character driven, very, very motivated, and absolutely nothing was wasted. So by the time we got done with the first episode, we're like, holy cow, we have an entire other hour to keep watching.
Yeah.
Which, why I said ABC spoiled us this week, but it's still a lot to process, and we ended on such a downer. I'm feeling a conflict of emotions.
I agree.
I can definitely see if we'd watch these like week after another week, how exciting it would feel. Like it feels like the energy is ramping up, especially since last episode where it was kind of like a fun, goofy episode, and like this episode, I shook my shoulders. It's fine, everyone. I'm comfortable with who I am.
You should do it more
I can
often.
shimmy if I want.
Yeah,
Can we all shimmy?
Can we all do a jig?
Listen,
The Jesse. This is the Jesse.
It's the Jesse.
but I think
Those of you listening to this, you should go watch this.
but I think since the last episode was fun, these 2 episodes were a lot more like there was still comedy in them. There's still some funny moments, but it was much more like now we are ramping into getting into business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, this is like we have 3
Mm-hmm.
episodes left after this, so like it's out of 10 total. So like we've actually, when you think about it like that, it's like, no, we still have 30% left.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
That's nuts.
Technically, there's
nuts.
still quite a lot of time for them to do some, make some big changes. I don't know.
It's weird to think that because we only have time-wise, it's only 2 weeks left after this one. But yeah, there's gonna if the next 2 weeks have just as much packed in as this week did, we are in for quite a ride.
There's gonna be a lot going on, folks.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much to talk about tonight. We're gonna get into Wilkes and Peggy, versus Sousa and Peggy. We're gonna get into Dottie's big return.
Yes.
Whitney Frost taking stuff to the next level. We've got some big news to discuss. Both about we've got Agent Carter news to discuss. We've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. news to discuss. We've got Daredevil news to discuss. Settle in, folks.
We also have 2 episods to discuss.
Yeah, so
exactly.
Let's stop beating around the bush. Let's dive in.
Talk about them.
All right. I want to start off with let's start with Dottie. With Dottie coming back into the fold.
Dottie is such a fun character for me. Because she's so unwavering, you know what I mean? And it was really interesting in these episodes to see her break a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what because part of what's so fun about that character is that, you know, she goes into every single problem she's faced with, etc., with basically like psychotic unshakability, you know what I mean? Like,
and glee.
Yeah.
Like, she's just so happy to be doing what she's doing.
Yeah.
Everyone knows I got a huge crush on Dottie. Not the actress, the character Dottie. It says something about me.
Jesse is a glutton for punishment.
Just like a crazy girl. Whitney Frost, you leave my girl alone. Leave her alone. I really liked having Dottie back in this episode. I like that we had to break her out. I think it leaves open some doors that I'll discuss in 4 hours when we talk about predictions.
Right.
Eddie in the booth, we will not be here for 4 hours, I assure you.
We all have homes and families.
I don't know about you guys. I brought trail mix of Dottie.
And a sleeping bag.
All right. Settle down, guys.
But I think the Dottie part was so much fun. Like, it was nice seeing her bounce off against Peggy. It was nice seeing her bounce off against, like, seeing her and Jarvis. Like,
they're great.
Jeeves.
Dottie is a great counterpoint to Peggy because they grew, like, there's a lot of similarities between them where they sort of grew up, like, training for this sort of life. Like, we get with Peggy's backstory, we know that she started out as a code breaker, like doing the thing that whatever she could within the military, like,
for sure.
But Dottie was just thrown right into it
From childhood.
And I thought it was interesting that Vernon said that she was betrayed by by Dr. Fenolf. I didn't actually think of it that way until he said that.
Yeah, I didn't really think of it that way either. I think what I thought was most interesting about Dottie in these episodes was them sort of addressing her relationship with Peggy, and that, you know, Peggy basically at the beginning of the first of these 2 episodes realizes, okay, she can't really do anything right now because she's still incredibly injured, and that Jarvis is going to go in and basically infiltrate this. It was like an inauguration dinner or something for Whitney Frost's husband, Cal, and
Rest in Cal.
Oh, yeah, poor Cal. Saw that one coming.
Oh, dear.
But so basically they're going to go in and they're like, okay, well, we need to send a woman in with him, and Peggy can't go, and also she would recognize Peggy, so we've got to figure out somebody else to send in. And so, of course, they go and send in Dottie, and Peggy's the one who actually goes in and breaks her out and strikes this fake deal with her, which Dottie's like, you're not gonna. She basically says, once you do this for me, I'll deport you. And Dottie's like, you're not gonna do that. And Peggy's like, you're right. I'm gonna put you back in prison.
What is this? Her third different American accent?
Yeah.
Oh, Peggy?
Yeah.
Look, I mean, Haley Atwell amazes me at every turn, but her voice work in this series has been so on point.
Yeah, it's great.
Cool.
It's really cool. But basically, so, you know, Peggy goes to these great lengths to break Dottie out in order to assist them in this mission, so that later on, when Dottie is actually being held captive, there is this discussion of what does Dottie think her relationship with Peggy is.
Exactly.
You know, because there is this part of Dottie, I think, that genuinely does expect that Peggy is going to come to her rescue.
Yeah, I feel like she knows that if at any point Peggy wasn't going to come rescue her, that they would have just killed her. But she knows Peggy Carter is better than that the only way Carter would have used the necklace to kill her would be if literally Dottie was like going on a rampage to actually hurt people.
Yeah, Dottie was surprisingly loyal. Like, she got tortured legitimately. Yeah. And then tortured in a supernatural way, but she was also tortured by Vernon. And she was surprising, like, she has no.
She was super chill about it.
Yeah. Well, she was super chill about it. She enjoyed it.
That was great.
We learned that she has taken her hair and her fingernails off many times before, burned herself, all that kind of stuff. Still into her. Why? No one knows. And,
well, after the blowtorch, she is very hot.
Yeah, exactly. But she is surprisingly loyal. Like, she still won't give the information away. It takes drowning in black goo to have her
supernatural black goo.
Yeah, I think that's something that we're seeing in this episode is this certain degree of mutual respect between Dottie and Peggy.
Well, it's that interplay that you see a lot between heroes and their primary villains.
Yeah,
like there's a weird respect and like I hate you, but I don't know what I'd do without
the Batman to the Joker, the Lex to the
Spider-Man
Superman.
has to like team up with Dr. Octopus every once in a while,
right?
And they hate doing it, but like there's always a point where Doc Ock could kill Spider-Man, but doesn't because of whatever the bigger thing is.
Yeah, especially that time he like went inside his head.
That's weird. It's such a weird storyline. But to the point of bringing back Dottie, we had a longtime listener and fan of AfterBuzz, Langley, tweeted us about just count how many times this episode passes the Bechdel test, which even Agent Carter, it has episodes where it's like, did they? I don't know, but this one absolutely no question. The dynamic between Dottie and Peggy and Dottie and Whitney and Whitney and Peggy, it was just fascinating to watch. And for anybody who wants to make the argument that you can't make successful female-driven shows and have all the characters be well-rounded and interesting, it's like, dude, just take a look.
Yeah. Well, and we've talked a lot about this, so we'll keep it brief.
We'll keep it short, but it was fascinating.
Yeah, but I think that I feel like nobody's saying that anymore. Yeah, like I feel like you'd have to be so bad. Like any TV executive now, looking at the ratings of television now, who says like, nah, people don't want to watch like female-driven shows, is just real bad at their jobs. Like it's not like it's where people are like, well, you can make our
right.
They're the most popular shows on TV.
I agree.
Right now.
It's interesting that television has embraced that movement so much, whereas film is a little bit slower on the uptake.
Also, I hear television people all the time say we can't have a female main character. Like I hear it almost.
I'm not saying it's not being said.
No,
you're just really bad.
But I think that this is something that Marvel that I applaud Marvel for really embracing, in that, you know, you have these properties, Agent Carter, Jessica Jones as being, you know, sort of prime examples of these stories that are based on or inspired by comic books, and that's why they're able to get these shows made, because they're going, oh, well, it's a comic book show and it just so happens that the main character is a girl, so bravo to them for doing that. It's very much the same thing with Star Wars Force Awakens. All of the new protagonists that they introduced were either women or people of color. I applaud you, Lucasfilm. You know what I mean? Like, it's so cool to see these big companies with these huge properties going, we're gonna make a difference.
No, it's so exciting. And
you seem very lukewarm on that.
No, to Jesse's point, I was just listening to a speaker earlier today talk about how, like, sometimes you don't get the part because you're not right for the part.
Right.
But other times it was because, oh, another ethnic person came in, checked that box, we don't need you anymore. Yeah. So it does still happen. And I don't want to rant on it, but
I mean, ultimately, we find out that is what Whitney Frost is all about.
Exactly.
You know,
let's talk about Whitney.
Yeah. Can we talk about her? Because she's scary good to watch.
I mean, clear upgrade in powers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think in a classic sort of hero or villain story, she discovered a new level of her powers under duress. Yeah. And so like, her husband, like Cal, brings her to that meeting, and I think we were all probably like, yeah, he's up to something. This is not a good thing.
No, I straight up wrote down when he was basically saying, hey, I arranged everything so you can talk to the council. I was like, I don't trust him.
Admiral Akbar got a workout this week.
For the amount of times he said it's a trap.
Like, there's constant, in these 2 episodes, it's just like, it's a trap, it's a trap, it's a trap, that's a trap too.
Well, Cal did that thing that everyone does where he hugged the person and he looks straight
at the camera. As if to say, hey, audience, you know that moment of sincerity I just had with this person I'm hugging? Yeah. It was a lie.
Yeah. I already didn't trust him, and then he looked directly at the camera, and it was like, no.
There was any question.
She can do stuff to, like, not only can she, like, direct it at specific people, like, not just, like, take out this room, or, like, I don't have to touch them anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, like, she can send it.
I want to take out 5 out of 9 of these people.
Yeah, it's the council of 4 now.
Yeah.
Now, here's the question. Would she have been able to do that had she not kept absorbing people in various different things? Like, when she first got this, would she have been able to shoot it across the room? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think that her power grows exponentially with everything that she sort of absorbs, but I also think so too does the power itself, and ultimately perhaps hinders her ability to control it. That's what I think.
Yeah, no, we see more and more of the facade cracking.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see more of where she can take these powers. Yeah. Like, what is the limit?
Yeah, she's becoming less Madame Mask and more like Madame Hydra. Like,
it is stepping, and not that I feel like I need to be precious about Madame Mask.
Yeah,
like they are stepping pretty far away in terms of power set from the original.
The most Madame Mask thing she's done is shoot Anna to get away. Like that so far has been like
all the scientist stuff
and some of the scientist stuff, but like the most I was like, oh yeah, it's Madame Mask is shooting someone so she has an easier way to escape.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? By the end of the season, she's probably not gonna still have a position as the head of Hydra. She might have to go on the run, assuming she lives by the end of the season.
I mean, she might not have a face by the end of it.
I was gonna say.
It might just be a horrible void of swirling liquid. I don't know. It's going to be weird.
I mean, she's going more and more off the deep end. Question is, like, how much is her? How much is the Dark Force?
Yeah.
Because she was talking to it. Like, when Cal came into the middle of the room, she's having a conversation with something we can't see.
Yeah.
I sort of took that as her talking to herself more. Then like I didn't see that as a dialogue.
It sounded very much like a dialogue. Like she was pausing and like responding to things. It was
she's like
it was not a like, okay, then we're gonna do this and then we're gonna do that.
Right.
It was more like, well then what? Okay, well that makes sense.
But I mean, and I mean, obviously not in the literal sense. We haven't per se seen it on the show yet, but there have been several mentions of the fact that like the Dark Force is calling to me and telling me to go to these different places. So maybe she is hearing voices in her head. I don't know.
And we had another. I want to say it was another fan tweeted us earlier this week that that actually Dark Force did pop up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at one point.
Yeah, we
completely spaced it.
We totally missed it. They even called it Dark Force.
Yeah. Season 1, it was the episode with the cellist. Apparently, one of the people that had escaped.
It was the guy that was coming after after Audrey.
Yeah.
All those times he was infected with the Dark Force.
I need to go back and rewatch that episode.
70 years later, I was trying to do some math there in my head.
So yeah, I'm wondering if by the end of the season, if Whitney Frost and sadly maybe even Wilkes are no more. But the Dark Force remains behind and it gets locked away until Hydra S.H.I.E.L.D. decides to start experimenting with it again.
Yeah. It's another box in the S.H.I.E.L.D. library.
Being taken care of by top men.
Yes. Top men are handling this situation. No, but I liked, crazy as this is to say, it's like you sort of get Whitney, I think, to some degree. I think that as an audience member, like I do have some sympathy for her. I mean, number one, we already saw a good little portion of her backstory and how basically, you know, her mother was trying very hard to raise her to only value her looks. And we see this woman who knew that she was worth a whole lot more, and now, but because it was like suppressed so much, it's made her a little crazy.
Well, that whole thing that she had with Wilkes about, you know, the reason why he got hired at Isodyne, and like that he would have been more likely be hired to be a janitor there than a scientist is again a great way that the show just reminds us of the time that this took place. That I mean, it's still relevant now. Like there's still issues with that now. So the fact that they can do something that took place in the past that still is an issue presently is really, I think it's a great way of kind of reminding us that. And yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that if you feel oppressed, you should murder people, but I think it's okay to be frustrated about it. And I think that this show kind of showcased that.
No, there's a Brooklyn Nine-Nine quote for that. It's cool motive, still murder.
Yep.
And I mean, but it does make her relatable. Like, the idea that you struggle with something and this is like just you run out of ways to fight back. That's relatable. Everybody has been there where not in this exact scenario. No. Everybody has been fighting a problem and hit a wall where there's just nothing more that you can do. And you just, like, some people will push it to the brink.
And it does bring up the question, like, one thing that all of these shows brings up is if you had the ability to do something like that, would you take advantage? Would you stick to
the world?
Would you stick to the doctrine of with great power comes great responsibility, or would you go, no, I've been screwed over by life. I'm gonna go ahead and take charge now.
I would say Whitney Frost would argue that it's her responsibility to change the world. Yeah. That she feels like now that she has this power, she's responsible for what happens in the world, and that she could change it. She's doing it the wrong way,
absolutely,
by melting people.
but I mean, when she shows up at the end of the second episode, and Wilkes is there, and she realizes that he's sort of become corporeal again, and that he's able to reject her trying to like absorb him. Her reaction isn't like, "Oh, I need to get rid of you." Her reaction is, together we're unstoppable. Like we can make a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point she's starting to wonder what could they do together. Like these two people who have powers related to the same thing, like he can take the dark force from her. What else could he do?
Right.
Sorry, this is just
go ahead.
Like if she's thinking like if he can pull it from things, what if they can find a dark force mine?
It is totally like a Team Magneto like mentality of, okay, we have these powers. There's all these people
we've been ostracized by humans
who have ostracized us and oppressed us. So now, let's band our powers together and hurt the people who hurt us.
Well, I'm still wondering what her end game is right now, because her short game, even capturing Wilkes, her short game is still recreating the experiment. And I'm wondering, what is she hoping to achieve by doing that? Is it by recreating this experiment, I'll unlock all of the secrets of Dark Force, I'll be able to open up a gateway to another dimension and see what this has come from?
More Dark Force.
Or is it, just it will give me more power and I will rule the world.
I mean, she's a scientist. I think at this point she wants to do more experiments with it. She has a limited supply. She doesn't want to take what's in her because it's giving her all this power. But if she can find a way to access an unlimited supply of Dark Force, she continue experiments, especially now that she sees that it has affected Wilkes differently. And formed, I guess, like the Dark Inhumans, it's like the Dark Avengers, but like weirder. But yeah, because it's giving everybody a different power, and like what else could that do? Like it mirrors in a lot of ways like what's going on in S.H.I.E.L.D. when they get their hands on the fish oil. Yeah. And it's like, do you do experiments with it and see what it's going to do? Or do you just study it and leave well enough alone and not hurt people?
Yeah. And the problem again with at least with Whitney Frost's scenario is that you get powers in the short term, but your face is also coming undone, not taking into account the potential long-term detrimental effects. Because she's so high on this new power that she's gotten. I don't know, and she's very smart. I'm not going to call her dumb at all because she's a genius, but I'm just really concerned about her long-range plan because every time she uses this ability, it physically affects her.
Yeah. Well, I think she's thinking that this power could change the world. She could save lives with this potentially.
Yeah.
And
because we're not monsters.
They're not monsters, and she's a scientist. So I think Zach's kind of on the right track there, where she is kind of going through this and testing and seeing how it goes. And if people get hurt or people die, that's kind of what has to happen. I mean, they even called out the wolf woman of the SS, who is a real woman, when they were talking about the torturing stuff. She was a real woman who did a lot of terrible experiments on people, a lot like Dr. Mengele, and like a lot of modern science is based off of people being tortured and hurt and killed because of what Dr. Mengele did. But we now know, like, most anesthesiology is based off of all of his stuff. Things that save lives, that have saved all of our lives probably at one point, are based off of the torture and death of innocent people. And so I think scientists, especially like Whitney Frost, that science without morality going unchecked can lead to some great discoveries, but it also leads to some great pain and hurt. So I think Whitney is doing whatever it takes to find out as much as she can about this. And if that means it's a nuclear explosion that they have to recreate and a few people in a city die, then she's okay with that.
Yeah, and so and there's a lot going on with Whitney. There's also a lot going on with Carter and Jarvis and their attempts to take down Whitney.
Yeah.
We got this ridiculously fun sequence where after they've gotten a hold of Dottie, they send Jarvis and Dottie on a date.
It's so good. And she's a surprisingly good dancer.
Yeah, it's called the ballet.
Yeah, we saw that.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the widows learn.
Yeah, I liked in this scene too the standoff between Jarvis and Agent Thompson.
Yeah,
when he sees him there, and first of all, I love that Dottie was basically like, "Oh, great, he's here. Want me to kill him? He'll be fast."
Not gonna lie, it might solve a few problems. But yeah, no, that was a fantastic scene. It was just the two of them talking.
Yeah.
Because clearly Thompson knows that Agent Carter is involved and has her fingers in this whole scenario. But can't prove it at the moment.
Right.
And Jarvis knows that Thompson is under the thumb of what is the current incarnation of Hydra, of essentially the council at this point. He knows it.
This did sort of throw an interesting wrench into our Arena Club as Hydra thing. I mean, the pin is very clearly Hydra related.
Yeah.
So, and we're still asking that question of like why Dottie wanted it and all that. So there's still things to be answered there. But the fact that she took out 5 out of 9 of the council members. Now Vernon is the one who seems to be the most likely to be Hydra.
Yeah, Vernon is no good.
Do you think it's possible that he's the only one that's actually Hydra?
I do actually think that it may be possible, and that the rest of the Arena Club is unaware of the fact that they're basically being sort of used.
Like that, they know that they run the world, but they don't know that they're a part of something even bigger than they know.
Exactly, Megan, exactly.
Well, in the
because they do answer to Vernon.
In the Marvel universe, Roxxon has always been a part of Hydra.
Yes.
And we also know that Joe Manfredi in the Marvel universe is also a huge guy in Hydra as well. And so I think maybe Vernon's the only Hydra guy, but at least in the Marvel comic book universe, a lot of these characters are established Hydra people.
I'm still okay with just calling them Hydra, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, I think because I know how the fans will react. But we know that they have not officially become Hydra.
Correct.
But I think our previous prediction stays relevant from this. That Vernon, now he's taking over the LA branch of the SSR. Yeah. He's going to fold it into this new thing called S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's pretty...
I think we'll go into predictions.
Yeah.
Well, and it's pretty obvious, too, that the people who attacked Sousa, they're probably men from his own office. Because there's nobody at the SSR that they can trust right now.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part, too.
Well,
on Sousa slowly walking up those stairs, just... If your chief has a leg that doesn't work, maybe install an elevator. Like if the chief doesn't have if he's got.
But he's not the type of person that would complain.
That is true.
That's true, but maybe some upstart in the LA SSR is like, hey, we should probably install an elevator.
I'll bet you somebody was like, Chief, do you want me to get an elevator installed? He's like, no.
Do you want me to knock your teeth out?
Seuss is the type who would say absolutely not.
Yeah,
you're right.
Because that would mean he's being treated differently than everybody else.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Get him an elevator.
That's it would help, but you know him.
Once he gets beat up, it's going to take him 5 years to get up those stairs. Just get him an elevator.
Well, he hasn't been directly attacked in a good long while.
That's true. No, this was the first time he was. Overall, it was like kind of rough couple episodes there for Sousa.
Yeah, his fiance broke off her engagement.
Yep.
He got beat up and got the SSR taken away from him. This is a rough couple. And then he saw Peggy kiss Wilkes, and this is a rough time for him.
Yeah.
I will say, I wrote down that the love triangle was stressing me out, but what I actually really like about this love triangle thing that they're portraying is that I find myself very conflicted because of the way that Sousa treated Peggy when he went off to LA and just basically ignored her, and now there's sort of the opportunity for them to rekindle, and they almost kissed in this episode. It's like I still get the sense that that's sort of what Peggy wants, and I want Peggy to get what she wants. And I also like that they don't clearly present either Sousa or Wilkes as the superior choice, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, that's good triangle building.
Yeah.
Or rhombus building.
Well, and I like that the way she put it. She's like, I didn't mean for this to happen. It just happened.
I really liked that conversation between them.
What's happened here is nobody's fault.
I also like that she didn't bring it up either. It wasn't like one of those scenes that you see where it's like, oh, what am I gonna do with this? She was perfectly fine not talking.
It wasn't a Twilight Bella oh, I don't understand Jacob, Edward, whatever. Who cares?
And it was with Jarvis. Who Jarvis was the one who pushed that. It wasn't her character, none of her motivation was pushed by her relationship, her romantic relationships in either of these episodes. It was just a thing that happened that's part of her life.
Jarvis being a gossip.
But Jarvis is pecking away like a hen, and she's like, can you just get to the point?
You've got two fantastic suitors.
Yeah.
I would like to make a correction though, Jarvis. 3 suitors. Me.
Who could resist the hat, right?
You've got
exactly. I know more than most people that the hat is
2 fantastic suitors and 1 from the future.
That's true. But no, I mean it was really nice to see this just presented, because this is something that happens in real life. Where suddenly, be you a man or a woman, whatever, and you find yourself in this scenario where there are 2 people who are both good choices, and you hope that one of them is gonna turn out to be the superior choice. But the fact of the matter is, there's no right answer.
No.
Well, I'm gonna ask you guys. Do you, just so that we
No, it's not.
So that we can move along, do you guys think that you have a preference or a way that you are leaning in terms of I feel like it's these, this is the are you shipping either one of these couples?
I hate to say it, I'm still mad at Sousa for the beginning of this season, so I'm like, get him back together with Violet. Assuming she's not Hydra, she seems like a very nice girl. Get him back together with her and let Peggy and Wilkes try to work things out once he becomes more corporeal.
But see, I was so invested in the Peggy and Sousa thing that, like, I still sort of want that to work out, and I feel horrible because he was terrible to her.
Peggy and Dottie.
Peggy and Angie.
Or
Bring Angie back.
The three of them will live in a non-traditional relationship. Peggy, Dottie, and Angie. No one will judge them. Everyone will just be like, yeah, it makes sense. The three of them make sense.
Yeah.
No one will question it.
Like, Captain America saved my husband because her husband is the United States of America. And freedom is really her husband.
Yeah, Ivan Soto says Sousa's the best choice. SM down H9 reminds us that it's 4 if you include Captain America.
Well, that is true. I mean, I feel like
he's from the past and the future.
I feel like ultimately, like, where do you go from Captain America? It's like,
yeah, no, it's all downhill.
It's all downhill from there.
Yeah, you might as well just go all the way down. I'm right here. No, I mean, it's really hard to pick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. I lean towards Sousa, but I think that's mainly because we've spent more time with him.
Yeah.
We had an entire season with
This
him.
is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move along. We need all the time we can get.
Yeah.
There's so much. We still have so much episode to talk about. Thompson shows up at this party. Oh no, Thompson.
Yeah. I mean, it's clear that he is under a lot of pressure from Vernon, and Vernon's saying all the right kind of buttons to trigger Thompson, who is someone who's had his honor kind of tainted.
Yeah, being able to pick up on that.
And, like, so being able to kind of, like, push him and be like, listen, we want you to be at the big table. There's just this little problem of Peggy Carter that you got an issue with. And it looks like what they're going to... I think that Thompson's going to say that Peggy is a communist. That he broke out a known communist spy out of prison and is now working with the communists. I think that's kind of where this is leading.
Because that would disgrace and discredit and subdue her.
Right, which is specifically what Vernon wants.
Yeah.
Without killing her. Because when Vernon says, I want you to take care of her, he's like, I'm not killing Agent Carter. And he's like, did I say that? What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Killing her would make her a martyr. He doesn't say, he says that it would be wrong morally and strategically.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm interested to see, like, with our theory of Vernon being, like, part of the machine that eventually brings Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. into this creation. Peggy, we know that Peggy Carter helps found S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
And she obviously
with Howard Stark.
With Howard Stark.
Yep.
So we know that it can't just be Vernon because we know that Peggy won't trust him.
Yeah.
So it will be very interesting to see what happens here. I wonder if Thompson... All right, I'll save this for predictions. Let's keep going. What else do we have to talk about in this episode? Anna. I mean, we finally got her back, and now she's been shot in the gut.
I know.
By Whitney Frost. I mean,
with the way she was acting this entire episode, I kept expecting something to happen to Jarvis, which really good misdirect on the writer's part.
That was a good misdirect.
Because you keep seeing the look of worry on her face, and you keep getting this notion that Jarvis is in over his head when he goes out on these missions, that she's really worried now that she knows the true nature of those missions and how dangerous they actually are. And, you know, she's confiding in Wilkes with all of this, and everything about this episode led me to believe that something bad was going to happen to Jarvis, not to her.
Yeah.
I will say that I did like that when we initially saw her start to get concerned about things, and I think to some extent feel a little left out of Jarvis's life, because you know, he is going on to have these bigger, crazier adventures than she ever really, truly knew him to have. And I think that the more that she's learning about his secret life, like, we're seeing that, like, she is feeling a little left out. But I like that instead of having her... like, just
screen.
Yeah, or just, like, sit around and be sad about it, she, like, jumped right into science.
Or be jealous of Peggy or something. Like, that would have been an easy way to go. I mean, we've got it a little bit with Violet... And, like, I don't want to stay there. Like, that's a boring storyline. We've seen that.
Yeah. And Violet has more reason to be jealous.
And it also
in
reinforces that relationship that Jarvis and Anna have.
Yeah.
I think their story is so sweet and, like, so nice to have. Like, to have any of that jealousy or anything like that would kind of ruin it.
And it would undermine the relationship that Peggy has with Jarvis, too, because theirs is very much a camaraderie friendship.
Absolutely.
They're best buds.
Yeah. Exactly. So any sort of romantic sort of jealousy would completely undermine that from a writing perspective. So I'm glad they don't bother.
I mean, what else did you guys talk about this episode? Buy me a second so I can deal with some stuff.
Sure. I'll do a call out right now. For those of you who didn't see on the Twitter handle, JillyBean729, you can follow her at Twitter. She made a Jesse's Corner.
Oh my God!
She also wrote a Jesse's Corner theme.
I think we need to make a show.
Someone suggested the Jesse's Corner theme be sung to Jesse's Girl.
Wish that I was in Jesse's Corner or something like that.
So
the
thank you for that.
difficult.
Shout out for that. Sorry, I'm recovering from allergies. For the show overall, I thought a bad week for abdomens.
Very bad week for abdomens.
Because
jeez, yeah.
Peggy got her stitches reopened.
Yep.
And then Anna got shot in the gut as well.
I know.
It's just no good.
Bad time.
Yeah. I know.
It's a good thing nothing's important is in the abdomen, right, guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Not a single thing.
I was really sad that Anna got shot. I did not like that.
Yeah.
No.
She got shot right where Peggy did. Peggy had the rebar through her stomach.
mean, I think what we can... And granted, I don't want to give Whitney Frost any credit because she still shot her.
Yeah.
But I think what we can sort of assume was because she prevented, her hitman from shooting her. So I think what she did is I think she tried to shoot her in a place where she knew she'd be able to recover, that she was just looking to slow down Peggy Carter, not actually kill anybody. That may be giving her way too much credit, and I don't want to do that.
What we know from war movies is gut shots don't kill you immediately.
True.
They're just really painful, and you die after a long period of pain. So,
Yeah.
so
Why?
it was a mercy.
I guess.
Yeah. All right. Like, so there's some more stuff with Whitney and what she's planning to do with the dark matter. And like we got Leviathan name checked really briefly.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that they implied that Stalin is overseeing Leviathan. They sort of set it up in this way that's very similar to the way that Hydra and Nazi Germany was running.
Yeah.
Because Leviathan in the books is a vastly different, like, it's separate from Russia. It is based in Russia and has a lot of Russian elements to it, but it is not Russian.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he was just throwing in a lot of things an American would say about a suspected communist or about like an actual person from a communist country.
Yeah.
A spy from a communist country.
Yeah.
I think you would just assume Lenin was in on it. Or Stalin. Whatever. Who are we talking about? I don't know. It's late.
One of those guys.
Okay, so we've got a few more minutes left that I hope we can buy us. Because there's so much to talk about, and like I think we're gonna have to just engage with you guys on YouTube in the comments on a lot of it.
Yeah.
So anything that we missed, let's go back to. I do feel the need to make, because at one point Jarvis says that that Wilkes is living in a material world, and I just like started saying, I was like, is he a material girl? Like, I was really proud of that. It's like a big thing in my notes.
Yeah, it's worth that joke.
Yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it. Okay.
Anytime you can incorporate song lyrics into actual conversation.
Especially Madonna songs.
Moving forward, let's do some news and gossip.
Nope.
Nope. We'll do it anyway.
AFTERBUZZ TV news. All right, guys. So much to talk about here. Okay, let's start with Agent Carter news, because this was a huge drop this week. The news that Haley Atwell has signed on to star in a new ABC pilot. And it's from, of all people, the showrunner of Jessica Jones. Very interesting development. And it's just a pilot.
Yeah.
It's not a series yet, but the fact that ABC is allowing her to star in potentially a new series means that it's not good news for Agent Carter.
No, let's see. New ABC pilot. It's the ABC drama pilot Conviction.
Yeah, Conviction.
That's the name.
And we don't need to go into everything about what the show is about, just in the interest of time.
Yeah.
It's all over deadline and everything,
Yeah.
but it just in terms of reporting for this show, they have said that that Haley Atwell could potentially do both.
Okay.
If they opted to pick up Agent Carter, they said that they could do both as limited series. But it's not. But it doesn't bode well. I will say that. We've said before that it seems that the formation of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the natural stopping point for Agent Carter.
But I feel like it's sort of a bummer because I think that there's still another good season left in Agent Carter.
I feel like again, one more season would give us a really good 3-act structure.
Yeah,
to the beginning
exactly.
Of
Yeah, I agree.
I would love to get another season.
I would love one more. I actually don't even think that the show needs a 4th season.
No,
as much as I love it, I think 3 would be the great
one more
half
and done.
on it.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, I think that would be the perfect way to end Agent Carter, is one more season where we wind up with the formation of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then we're like, no, shit's Hydra. Okay.
And the very last shot of the season or the series is what will become the Hydra aspect of S.H.I.E.L.D. and we'll be crying inside.
More news today, because they dropped a new Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. promo on us in the middle of this 2-hour ridiculous amount of Agent Carter.
Oh my god.
So there's so much in it. They're forming the Secret Warriors.
Oh my god.
Very clearly, they dropped little shots of a bunch of new characters.
We saw Yo-Yo, folks.
We saw Yo-Yo Rodriguez.
We might have seen Stonewall.
I'm pretty sure, Jesse and I had this whole conversation because I was like, I go back. I think I saw Stonewall. Stonewall, who is in the books the son of Crusher Creel, who we saw in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It could have been Crusher Creel in theory. I guess they could just bend his storyline to take over for Stonewall. Or you could make him his brother or his cousin, or a 18-year-old son, because Crusher Creel's 45 in the show.
Or it could be an Inhuman that just has
it could be somebody completely different.
I'm assuming that he is Inhuman in one form or another. Yeah. Maybe Crusher Creel turns out to be an Inhuman. Yeah, everybody's an Inhuman.
Except for people who were experimented on.
There was one... There was one guy in an army fatigue hat or whatever who flipped up his glasses, and my first thought was Druid.
It could be Druid,
or somebody to fulfill that same role. Because he just looked kind of nerdy.
I mean, to me, the eyes, since they were whited out, I thought Phobos. Because it looked like maybe it was causing fear in the guy.
Don't
the guy got
toy
paralyzed.
with me like that, Jesse.
But we got strangely enough, we only got one shot of Zombie Ward. For
with
that whole
ribs showing through.
It was real gross.
Okay. Last thing, I just want to get one statement from each of you on the Daredevil trailer. One statement thought. Jesse Klein.
Anxious.
Emma Fyffe.
Electra.
Electra. Doesn't have to be one word.
Okay. One bad day.
Excited.
Yeah.
So excited. I know we had to blow through this stuff, guys, because we had so much to talk about. If you want a full breakdown of Daredevil and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. trailer, be sure to tune into Marvel Movie News on our sister network, Popcorn Talk, where I'm sure the voice of Doom will have something to say, along with Matt Key and Coy Gendro, if they can find time around the Deadpool review. We'll make sure there's time there. One prediction each as we wrap out. Jesse.
I think the season ends with no SSR.
I think that I'm still rooting for Thompson. Still rooting for him to make a good choice.
I think now that Sousa's been forcibly removed from the office at the moment, that he's like, oh great, I have more time to help Peggy.
I don't think Thompson. I think Thompson is going to seem to come around to Peggy's side, and it's going to be just in time for him to form Hydra Shield.
Why, Chad Michael Murray? Why?
Because he's Chad Michael Murray.
Be a pal.
Oh, all right, guys. So until next week, here on Agent Carter, Jesse Klein.
Hey everyone, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JessKlein1, JessKlein, the number 1. You can find me tomorrow at the Pack Theater at 10:30. My team Haymaker is doing a sketch show. Don't go to it. It's not for you. And you can see me doing live comedy all around town, that kind of stuff.
I'm Emma Fyffe. I can be found all over the internet at Emma Fyffe. My name, EMMAFYFFE. That is all F's as in Fred, no S's as in Snake. You can see me on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzzTV.com. Tomorrow, Star Wars Rebels, Face Off, Transformers Robots in Disguise is coming back. Surprise!
Randomly.
We're still figuring out exactly when that's going to be. So follow me on Twitter and I'll tweet about it.
I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz with Emma Fyffe. And I also write articles for the movie Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out.
You guys find me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all these lovely places at that Zach Wilson, and also here at AfterBuzz on a whole bunch of shows. Better Call Saul just came back, and I did a review of that earlier tonight, and the Muppets. And Grimm. Oh my God, there's so much stuff to watch. So much TV to watch, guys. Until next week, until the next 2-part episode of Agent Carter, I'm Zach Wilson, and thanks for geeking out with us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.